So please, big, warm welcome for Garrett. Make him feel welcome.
Thank you, man. So I just want to say real quick, in the description on the website, it said Love Hurts, and at the very bottom it said Love Hurts So Good Stories as well. So here it goes. 5 years ago, my girlfriend at the time and I moved to Los Angeles, and we moved to Koreatown, to this really shitty, to this really shitty one-bedroom apartment with no AC, no heater, roach infested, and it came with the stereotypical scheming building manager. So about 2 weeks in, we one evening were just watching Sex and the City, because that's what you do when you have a girlfriend, no TV, a laptop, and the first season of Sex and the City. And around the time where Carrie Bradshaw and Mr. Big are meeting, we hear crying outside of our window. And we ignored it at first, but it was ruining our Sex and the City experience. So my girlfriend, being the caring person that she is, she decided she wanted to go outside and figure out what this crying was and what the situation was. So we went outside, and that's when I first met him. I'll never forget, he was bawling his eyes out, but he was just so handsome, and he had these beautiful green eyes. And once he noticed that people noticed that he was crying, he kind of shut up. And for the next hour or so, we talked to him, and apparently his entire family had left him, and he was abandoned. He didn't have anywhere to go, nowhere to sleep, nothing to eat. So my girlfriend and I discussed it, and we decided to invite him into our house. And he was a little hesitant at first, but being that he had nowhere to go, he decided to come stay with us. So that one night quickly turned into a couple days, that turned into a couple weeks, and before you know it, he was one of us. He was part of the family. Even though he didn't have a job or any money to give us, we were more than happy to feed him and house him, and he quickly became our best friend. And this is where it gets interesting, because my girlfriend got a job as a nanny, so she wasn't home very often, so it was just him and I a lot of the time. And we liked the same shows, Sex and the City. And I noticed that as the nights went, and him and I were just, hanging out on the couch watching Sex and the City, he would just get closer and closer, and I didn't know how to feel about it at the time, but I knew that I was excited and I was curious, and I let it happen. And before I knew it, every time my girlfriend was at work, him and I were cuddling, watching Sex and the City, but it was just cuddling, nothing else. So a couple weeks later, for a completely different reason, my girlfriend and I end up breaking up. Which left me and Jackson is his name, by the way, left me and Jackson in this apartment that we couldn't afford. And so my girlfriend moved back to Miami, and Jackson and I ended up getting a place of our own, and we've been living together since. It's been 4 years now, and I have to tell you, he's the type where I work in an industry where I have to travel a lot, so I'm not home very often. But he doesn't really he doesn't mind it. He doesn't he doesn't get jealous, and there's just so much trust in the relationship. And a really big thing for me was that when I told my parents that we were living together, they were extremely happy, and they told me that they were excited to meet him once they came to visit me in LA. So this Sunday marks our fourth Valentine's Day together, and every year I come across the same dilemma of not knowing what to get him, because he doesn't really like flowers, and he's deathly allergic to chocolate. Yeah, And from that first night that I saw him and looked into his eyes, I didn't think that I would ever have so much love for him the way I do now. And honestly, I don't think that anyone could ask for a better cat. So for this Valentine's Day, I'm gonna get him some catnip. Thank you.
Keep it going for Garrett, everybody.